Hi everyone and welcome to our YouTube video. Today we'll be talking about the organelles of a cell. So let us start with our introduction of what is a cell. A cell is the basic unit of life and each cell contains specialized structures called organelles which perform distinct functions necessary for a cell's survival and proper functioning. So inside a cell, we find organelles, and inside the cell, we also find something called cytosol. Cytosol is a fluid-like substance in which the organelles are in. So let us look at an example of a cell. So this is an example of a structure of a cell. So the yellow part is our cytosol, and we've got our contents inside, which are all called organelles. And we'll look at the organelles one by one. So let's start off with nucleus. Nucleus is the control center of the cell containing DNA, the genetic material. It regulates gene expression and mediates the replication of DNA during cell cycle, which is the synthesis of RNA. So if we look at this picture below, we see an example of a nucleus. The nucleus contains nucleolus inside, and within the cytosol there is also DNA, and then we've got a nuclear pores in which when the RNA is synthesized, it goes out of. And we've also got a nuclear envelope which hold the DNA inside. Moving on to the second, we've got our mitochondria. It is known as the powerhouse of the cell, as mitochondria generates ATP through aerobic respiration. It also acts as storage for calcium. An example is like muscle cell contains many mitochondria to meet energy demands. So all the energy that is made in a cell is made in the mitochondria of a cell, and some of the calcium is also stored in the mitochondria. Then next, we're going to look at the ribosome. This is an example of a ribosome. It is divided into two units. It is divided into two units, um, a big unit and a large unit and a small subunit. When these units are combined, they form one ribosome, and these units both have different functions. So ribosome synthesizes protein by translating mRNA found freely in the cytoplasm or attached to rough endometrium reticulum. So we've got our large subunit and our small subunit. And for each of these units to perform, they need each other. Moving on, we've got our ER endoplasmic reticulum. So this is an example of an endoplasmic reticulum or rough endoplasmic reticulum. So rough ER has ribosomes and synthesizes protein. It also degenerates worn out organelles. Then we also have our smooth endoplasmic reticulum, which is involved in lipid synthesis and detoxification. It also stores calcium and does metabolism of calcium. Next, we've got our Golgi apparatus. This is a structure of the Golgi apparatus. The organelle modifies, sorts, and packages proteins and lipids for secretion of internal use. Next, we've got our centrosome. Centrosome is found right next to the nucleus. It movement it moves when there is movement in the cell, movement of chromosomes during cell division. So the centrosome moves to a certain area and there's cell division in place for it to undergo cell division. Next, we've got our peroxisome. Peroxisome breaks down fatty acids, and it also degenerates uric acid to urine. Then we've got our lysosome. Lysosomes contain digestive enzymes which break down waste and damaged organelles and pathogens. For example, white blood cells use lysosomes to digest engulfed bacteria. Next, we've got our cytoskeleton, which determines the shape of the cell, stability of the cell. This is the skeleton of the whole cell. Then next, we've got our references. This is where I got all the information from. Thank you and hope you enjoyed the video.